On this problem, we want to graph r equals 8 plus 8 sine theta. Now notice this is one of the form a plus b sine theta or a plus b cosine theta. Those are the same types, where the a and b are the same. Since these two guys are equal, that means that we know we should have a cardioid, or kind of a heart shape. So what I do, knowing the basic shape that we have, I'm going to graph it using the key points, similar to what we did when we graphed just trig functions. Regular sine and cosine, their key points are at quarter points of the period, and it starts with 0 and goes to 2 pi, since the argument of the sine function is just theta. So my key points would be theta equals 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. Now remember, the key points for your sine and cosine function are the inputs to the sine and cosine, where you hit your maximum value, your minimum value, and your midpoint. So these are the inputs where we would hit 1, 0, or -1 for the sine or cosine value. Okay, so for those theta values, I want to find the r's just by plugging it in. So when theta is equal to 0, we would have r equals 8 plus 8 times the sine of 0, which is 8 plus 0, or 8. When theta is pi over 2, we have 8 plus 8 sine of pi over 2, which is 8 plus 8, which is 16. When theta is pi, we have 8 plus 8 sine of pi, which is 8 plus 0 again. When theta is pi over 2, we have 8 plus the sine of, 3 pi over 2. So it's going to be 8 plus 8 times -1 is -8, which is 0. And then when theta is 2 pi, we have 8 plus 8 sine of 2 pi, which is 8 plus 0 again, or 8. So our points here are theta would be 8, 0, 16 pi over 2, 8 pi, 0, 3 pi over 2, and 8, 2 pi. So I'm going to plot those points and connect the dots. Okay, so here's my polar axis. My first point is theta equals 0, so it's on the pole. R equals 8, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 units away from the pole on the polar axis. My next key point was on the angle pi over 2, and I'm going to count 16 units up that axis. About running out of room, and we'll have it up here. Pi, we're back to 8. Pi would be a rotation of 180 degrees, and we'll be back to 8. We'll be about here. 3 pi over 2, our r value is 0, and then 2 pi, we would be back to this point. So knowing that it's a cardioid shape, I'm going to sketch it in increasing values of theta. I'm just going to follow those points around and draw in the shape. So we'd start here where theta was 0, smooth curve up to where theta was pi over 2, continue the smooth curve down to where theta was pi. Now we go to theta equals 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. So basically we have an upside down heart in this case. So that would be choice A.